So what an offer she received in that episode.
I know. Things are cooking.
Very well.
Very.
Was that of the period or probably?
Yeah, I think it was.
Really?
I think maybe in Downton it feels a little shocking. But yeah, I think that's what's great about Mary in this series is that she's beginning to make choices and consider, what's next for her, and it's been an exciting series because she's having much more fun and
she seems happier.
Yeah, she's much happier, and I love that about her. She's very much kind of in the moment sort of person. She doesn't dwell on the past. She's moving forward with her life. I mean, they've been through a lot, let's face it. I mean, a sister, a husband, a war.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, people were tough back then.
I mean, there was a bit of discussion in the Q&A about the last series and how it was a little bit down. Obviously there was a raid.
Yeah.
It was a little bit miserable. Did you think that about the series? Did you think it had to brighten up a little?
I think that I see each series is very different. I mean, this is like a whole new chapter this year, like last year was, and of course there was that darker element to it last year because of it was the house moving on from the death of Matthew Crawley, which we couldn't suddenly after that car crash at the end of the Christmas special suddenly be like flapper dancing at the beginning of series 4. So there had to, it had to have that kind of process. Because actually when you think about towards the end of series 4, it was much brighter. You had Rose's debutante, there was a very kind of colourful element to it, which then kicked us off into this series.
And do you feel a sort of burden of responsibility? Because you're sort of carrying the whole narrative and often feels like is that way upon you?
Really, I mean, I think we all have a responsibility for our own characters and their storyline, and the way I see it is that for now it's Mary's decisions are really primarily to do with George's future. So even romantically, it can't just be solely for love. She has to think about the person being the right kind of father for George and someone to kind of take on the responsibility of the estate.
Will she make that decision this series then?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Damn it.
Do you feel that it seems to me that the women are much more substantial, much more of their presence in this 5th series compared to before? Before it was very male-dominated.
Yeah. Well, because of the war, I think that changed everything, and I think the character of Sybil kind of really rung in those changes because, she'd been a nurse throughout the whole of the First World War and she felt like she wanted to keep doing something after that. And Edith, having her job as a writer, they had, much more choice after that.
And you're running the farm these days?
Yeah.
Or helping?
Yeah. Well, and Mary is, she's really taking on that responsibility now. I think she was maybe a little scared of it before, and now she's really enjoying it. And it's interesting because the relationship between her and Robert is starting to change. I think he can see now that she can take it on and she can handle it all. Whereas before there was that friction between them.
Daisy Lewis made a great comment earlier there, speaking about how the show has a Game of Thrones quality to it now, where each script that comes along, you're kind of concerned if someone getting shot or that very Game of Thrones style. So do you see it that way yourself? Do you kind of joke about it a little bit?
I don't quite the level. No, maybe not. I don't. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a joke, sometimes, but it's. No, I think it just was that particular series because, Jessica Brown-Finney and Dan Stevens decided to leave the show. Yeah. So unfortunately there had to be 2 deaths. But no, it's not something that I worry about really.
No.
I think Mary's pretty safe.
Yeah, I think she's pretty safe.
Her son is the heir, so yeah. Yeah, it's very different. It's a different dynamic with the children because it's, when they're on set, it's really, the focus is on them because, of course, we can only do a certain amount of hours with them. you know, if they need to, you know, go off and have a bit of food or they're tired, we have to then swap them for their twin, because the boys are twins. But we use more of them this year because they're a little bit older. It's harder to work with them when they're really tiny because they've no idea what's going on, whereas they're at an age now where they kind of get that they're pretending. I mean, I love kids.
Yeah, because you said last time around you found it difficult to not like pick them up during the scenes and squeeze them because it's not all the time.
Well, because Mary's not very. I mean, she's not the most maternal of mothers.
Yeah.
I mean, she is, but it's because of who she is, and it's very of that, not of that time, but of that type of person. You know, she's an aristocrat, so she doesn't see her child for longer than 2 hours a day. So it's not that kind of cuddly, cooey sort of relationship that you would have now, that I would have now with a child.
Yeah.
You know.
How do the boys think? I wonder, logicize that in their head, because when you're not shooting, you're obviously picking them up and giving them a cuddle, and then when you are shooting, you're sitting there very...
They go completely quiet when they call action. Yeah, I think they're natural.
They're not like, Michelle, come on, pick me up.
Yeah. No. And occasionally they'll say, you know, where's my mummy? Which is like perfect, but you know, and I'm like, here she is, darling. Yeah.
Did you find it congratulations on the Emmys?
Thank you.
How did it feel to get the nomination, and is it easy to stay focused once you've got that sort of in the back of your head? I like that.
It's wonderful that the show has been again recognised, you know, for the Emmys, and in 12 nominations is, you know, something we really weren't expecting, and it's every year it is always a surprise and a really lovely feeling.
Each year when you get that.
No, I think it's just because, of course, other shows step in and new shows become, you know, the one to watch. But people still, you know, are still loving watching Downton. So it is a really nice feeling for us all.
Were you actually shooting when the nominations came?
I was, yeah.
You will celebrate. Celebration time?
Yeah, we do, yeah. Or just personally, we just go and celebrate, you know. But yeah.
Crack the champagne?
Yeah.
Is it still as much fun to shoot at Highclere? You still enjoy it as much as when it's done?
Yeah, and always because we have that 6 months off in between, it's really exciting coming back together again, you know, because we've all been off doing their own things, and sometimes we don't see each other for 6 months because you'll be off somewhere filming something else or doing a play, or and then so when we all come back together, it is a really lovely feeling. And you are quite at Highclere. You're quite sort of secluded because it's right in the countryside. The place where we stay is sort of very kind of out the way, so we all hang out together and have food together, and it's lovely. Yeah.
Do you keep in contact within the 6 months that you're apart?
Well, Laura and I live very close to one another, so we see quite a bit of each other in between. I mean, it varies really, but yeah. I mean, I was in New York for most of last year for 3 months.
What's the reaction over there when you get spotted on the street? What are the Americans like?
Well, it's similar, but in somewhere like LA, it's different because it's an industry town, so people are much more, they approach you a lot more, whereas London, people tend to sort of be going about their way a lot more to even notice, you know. Cities are quite different. Yeah.
And is it they want a selfie with you? What is it?
People want a picture most of the time, yeah.
Was it very difficult to shoot the fire scene, you know, with all that fire thing going on with the children?
Yeah, that was a big day, and that was actually a night shoot.
A night shoot.
So the night shoots are really fun because it's like it's weird filming after 9 o'clock and you're still there at midnight filming a scene. There's something really exciting about it. It was quite logistically. It was obviously.
Did you do that at Downton or the studio?
We did it at Highclere and some at the studio, so that all of the interior of Edith's bedroom was done in the studio, so that they could use all of the effects. because obviously they couldn't do that in the rooms at Highcliffe. Yeah, there definitely wouldn't be a series next year if we did
behind the
that.
scenes episode.
Yeah.
So is that
Watching
very,
Highcliffe.
is that very, well, you as an actress and the others, is it sort of like choreographed?
Yeah, well, you just have to kind of really kind of stay focused because, of course, it's more difficult for the crew, you know, and some of those steady cam shots, you know, the guy's got a camera attached strapped to him, he's running backwards downstairs. I mean, they are some really quite tricky manoeuvres, and so as an actor you just kind of have to stay focused. And
Is it quite exciting?
yeah, really exciting. Yeah, I love doing that
How
stuff.
long was that shoot to take?
That took
night shoot?
it was a long time. It was, you know, we started shooting that from it was the last scene up, so from I guess about 4 or 5 hours. Yeah.
What's your thought process taking on Selfless? Because you only have a certain amount of time to do a film. Cheery did not stop last year, so what was your thought process for signing on for this film this time?
Selfless.
Yeah.
Well, I love the script, and I mean it was something I couldn't turn down. I mean, to do the opportunity to work with Ben Kingsley and Ryan Reynolds was just wonderful, and it's a very different role. You know, she's a New Yorker. It was something very different. It was modern. It was shot in New Orleans, so I was somewhere I'd never been before. It's got a great music scene there, so it was really fun being there. So yeah, it's, you know, and the two things I've done are very different from Downton, which has been refreshing.
I'm wondering, are your US agents in a way going, we love that you're part of Downton, but maybe now leave and give you all these different offers, and I'm sure you're fielding and have to say no to because
Yeah, I'm
you're
sure
on.
there's an eagerness for them, but there is 6 months in between. You know, we can do other things, and you know,
Did you
that
understand
time will
why?
come, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, so did you understand why Dan wanted to leave? Why Jessica wanted to leave? Did you understand the sort of pull of getting away
Yeah,
from
and
the
we
long-running
all
series?
had that choice. You know, we all signed up for 3 years, and there was always that choice. And you know, it's you have to respect another actor's. Yeah, but you have to respect an actor's decision. You know, every career is different.
Have you been spending more time in Ireland? I know that there's been talk of you being part of some Irish productions that, like Love Hate, they would love you to be part of it back in
I
Ireland.
love that show.
Really?
Yeah,
Why-
it's
why
really
love
good.
you then?
Thank you all.
We've got to finish. I just love that show. Thank you.
Cheers.